Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Liberty, watching the stars through the main window. His ship was not the biggest or newest in the human fleet, but it was his home. The Liberty carried 37 crew members on their mission to explore the Kepler 442 system. They had been traveling for 3 weeks without seeing anything unusual. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange on the sensors," said Danny Rodriguez from his station. The young communications officer had sharp eyes and never missed details. His fingers moved quickly over his controls as he tried to get a better reading. Jake walked over to Danny's station and looked at the screen. The readings showed several large objects moving toward them from the outer edge of the system. The objects were too big to be asteroids and moved in a pattern that looked planned. "How many ships are we looking at?" Jake gasped. "I count 9 vessels, sir. They're bigger than us and moving in formation. They'll reach us in about 2 hours at current speed." Lisa Carter, the weapons specialist, looked up from her station. She was a quiet woman with steady hands and sharp mind. "Should I power up our defensive systems, Captain?" "Not yet," Jake said. "Let's see what they want first." "Danny, can you send a basic greeting signal?" Danny nodded and began working on his equipment. Liberty used standard first contact protocols that Earth had developed years ago. The message was simple and peaceful, showing that humans came in peace and wanted to talk. The response came faster than expected. The alien ships changed course and moved directly toward the Liberty. Their formation was perfect, like they had practiced it many times. Each ship stayed exactly the right distance from the others. "They're responding to our signal," Danny said with excitement in his voice. "The translation computer is working on their language. It might take a few minutes." Jake felt nervous but also excited. This was humanity's first contact with an advanced alien race. He had trained for this moment his whole career, but it still felt unreal. The alien ships slowed down as they got closer. Jake could see them clearly now through the main window. They were sleek and silver, with smooth curves that made them look fast and dangerous. Each ship was about twice the size of the Liberty. "Translation is complete, Captain," Danny announced. "They want to talk." The main screen lit up with the image of an alien creature. Jake had seen many strange things in space, but this being was unlike anything he had imagined. It stood nearly 8 feet tall, with 4 arms covered in what looked like crystal armor. Its face was long and narrow, with large eyes that seemed to glow. "I am Fleet Commander Vex Gallen of the Zephyrian Empire," the alien said. Its voice was deep and strong. "You are in our territory. State your purpose here." Jake straightened his uniform and stepped forward. "I am Captain Jake Morrison of the United Earth ship Liberty. We are explorers on a peaceful mission. No harm to you or your people." The alien commander made a sound that might have been laughter. "Peaceful explorers? Your species is new to us. We have conquered 47 star systems and defeated every enemy we have met. What makes you think you can travel safely in our space?" "We don't want to fight," Jake said calmly. "We're here to learn and explore. Perhaps we can help each other, Commander." Vex Galen's eyes seemed to shine brighter. "Help each other? What could a primitive species like yours offer to the mighty Zephyrian Empire? Our weapons are perfect. Our ships are faster than anything you have ever seen. Our warriors never miss their targets." Lisa Carter moved closer to Jake and whispered, "Captain, their weapons are charged and ready. They have target locks on our ship." Jake nodded slightly to show he understood, but kept his eyes on the alien commander. "We have developed some effective defensive systems. Human engineering is quite good." This time the alien definitely laughed. The sound was harsh and mocking. Jake could hear other aliens laughing in the background. Callum turned to speak with his crew, and Jake heard more laughter. "Effective defensive systems," the commander said when he turned back. "Your ship looks like it was built by children. We will show you what real weapons can do." The screen changed to show space outside both ships. Commander Vex Gallen had his crew set up targets for a demonstration. They used small asteroids, old pieces of metal, and glowing energy beacons. The targets spread out over several kilometers. "Watch carefully, human," the commander said. "Learn what precision means." The Zephyrian ships began firing their weapons. Shot beams of bright plasma that moved faster than Jake's eyes could follow. Each shot hit its target perfectly in the center. The asteroids exploded into dust. The metal pieces melted instantly. The energy beacons simply disappeared. Jake watched in amazement as the aliens destroyed target after target without missing once. Their accuracy was perfect. Every shot hit exactly where they aimed. In less than 2 minutes, they had destroyed 23 targets scattered across a huge area of space. Impressive, Jake said honestly. The demonstration was both beautiful and terrifying. Commander Vexcallen looked pleased with himself. Our accuracy rate in combat is 99.7%. We have never lost a battle. Now, human, show us your primitive weapons. Jake looked at Lisa Carter. She had been watching the alien demonstration carefully, and he could see her thinking. Lisa was the best weapons officer he had ever worked with. If anyone could handle this situation, it was her. Can we set up our own demonstration? Jake asked. Of course, the commander said with amusement. We are curious to see how badly you will fail. Lisa moved to her weapons station and began charging the Liberty's main guns. Jake watched her work, noticing that she seemed to be having trouble with the targeting system. Her fingers moved over the controls, but the readings looked wrong. Ready when you are, Captain, Lisa said, but her voice sounded uncertain. Jake gave her a small nod. Proceed with the demonstration. Lisa fired the first shot. It went wide, missing the nearest target by hundreds of kilometers. The beam of energy disappeared into empty space without hitting anything at all. The aliens burst into laughter. Jake could hear them talking excitedly in their own language, probably making jokes about human accuracy. Lisa fired again. This shot also missed, going in a completely different direction. It looked like she couldn't even see the targets properly, Commander. Vexcallen was laughing so hard that he had trouble speaking. This is wonderful. Your weapons officer cannot hit anything. Are all humans this bad at shooting? Lisa kept firing, and every shot missed by huge distances. Some went above the targets, some went below, and some went sideways. It looked like she was shooting randomly into space. Stop, Commander Vexcallen said, wiping tears from his eyes. This is too funny. We must record this to show our friends back home. No one will believe that a species can be this bad with weapons. Jake felt his face getting red with embarrassment, but he kept quiet. Lisa continued her demonstration, missing target after target. The aliens recorded everything, their laughter getting louder with each failed shot. After 10 minutes of terrible shooting, Lisa finally stopped. She looked frustrated and angry, like she couldn't understand why her weapons weren't working right. That was amazing, Commander Vexcallen said. We have never seen such poor marksmanship. You missed every single target. How did your species survive long enough to build spaceships? The other alien officers were still laughing and talking excitedly. Jake could see them sharing the recording with ships across their fleet. Perhaps the commander continued, You should surrender your ship to us. Species with such poor fighting skills should not be allowed to travel through dangerous space. We could protect you if you serve us. Jake clenched his fists but kept his voice calm. We'll consider your offer, Commander. Thank you for the demonstration. Consider quickly, Vexcallen said. Our patience has limits, and our weapons do not miss like yours do. The transmission ended, leaving Jake and his crew alone on the bridge. The alien ships maintained their position, clearly waiting for an answer. Jake looked around at his crew, seeing the mixture of anger and embarrassment on their faces. But when he looked at Lisa Carter, she was smiling. 3 days passed since the shooting demonstration, and the Zephyrian fleet stayed close to the Liberty. Commander Vexcallen kept his ships in a wide circle around the human vessel, like hunters watching their prey. The aliens seemed to enjoy having humans nearby to mock and study. Jake Morrison walked through the corridors of his ship, checking on his crew. Everyone seemed tense, knowing that 9 alien warships surrounded them. The Zephyrians sent messages every few hours, asking when the humans would surrender their ship and join the Empire as servants. In the communications room, Danny Rodriguez sat at his station, with headphones on, listening to alien chatter. Job was to monitor their conversations and learn about their plans. The translation computer worked all day, turning alien words into English. Captain, Danny called when Jake entered the room. You need to hear this? Aliens are having problems with their ships. Jake pulled up a chair next to Danny's station. What kind of problems? Their communication systems keep breaking down. Ships lose contact with each other for minutes at a time. They're also having trouble with navigation, computers, and weapon targeting systems. Jake frowned. Did they say what's causing it? They think it's cosmic radiation or old equipment. Commander Vexcalon is angry about it, but their engineers can't find the real problem. Nina Brooks, the ship's tech specialist, looked up from her computer. She was a small woman with quick fingers and a sharp mind for electronics. Captain, I've been tracking their system failures. The pattern is strange. How strange? Jake asked. Nina showed him her screen with charts and numbers. The failures happen at specific times, exactly 93 minutes apart. That's too regular to be random equipment problems. Jake studied the data. Nina was right. Random failures would happen at different times, but these problems followed a perfect schedule. Something was causing the alien systems to malfunction. And it wasn't cosmic radiation. Pete Johnson, the ship's engineer, joined the conversation. He was an older man who understood how machines worked better than anyone on the ship. Captain, I've been thinking about their demonstration 3 days ago. Did you notice anything unusual about our weapons performance? You mean besides missing every target? Jake said with a bitter laugh. That's just it, sir. Lisa's the best shot in the fleet. I've seen her hit targets smaller than my thumb from incredible distances. There's no way she would miss that badly unless she was doing it on purpose. Idea hit Jake like a bolt of lightning. He'd been so embarrassed by the failed demonstration that he hadn't considered the possibility. Lisa Carter never missed anything by accident. If she missed those targets, she meant to miss them. Where is Lisa now? Jake asked. In the weapons bay running diagnostics, Pete answered. Jake hurried through the ship to find Lisa. She was alone. In the weapons control room, studying readouts on multiple screens. When she saw Jake, she smiled the same mysterious smile she had worn 3 days ago. Captain, she said calmly, I was wondering when you'd come to talk to me.
No, Lisa?
What really happened during that demonstration? She turned back to her screens and pressed several buttons. New displays appeared showing detailed targeting information. I hit every target I aimed at, Captain. Perfect accuracy, just like always. Jake stared at the screens in confusion. But you missed everything. We all saw it. I missed everything the aliens wanted me to shoot at, Lisa said. But I hit everything I was actually shooting at. She brought up a 3-dimensional map of space around both fleets. Tiny dots appeared scattered throughout the area, far too small to see with normal eyes. Each dot was marked with a timestamp, showing when it had been destroyed. Surveillance drones, Lisa explained. The aliens deployed 47 of them around our ship during their demonstration. They're so small and advanced that most sensors can't detect them. But our new quantum targeting system can see them perfectly. Jake felt his mouth drop open. You were shooting their spy equipment? Every shot hit a drone or sensor beacon? The aliens thought I was missing badly, but I was actually eliminating their surveillance network. They have no idea what we're really capable of, because I destroyed all their spy devices. The genius of the plan became clear to Jake. While the aliens laughed at human incompetence, Lisa had been systematically blinding their intelligence gathering. Zephyrians were making decisions based on incomplete information. Is that why their systems are failing? Jake asked. Lisa nodded. There. Technology is more connected than they realize. When I destroyed their surveillance network, I also hit several communication relay points and sensor coordination nodes. Their ships are having trouble talking to each other because the linking systems are gone. Jake sat down heavily in a chair. The implications were enormous. The aliens thought humans were helpless, but Lisa had been conducting sophisticated warfare right under their noses. Captain Nina's voice came over the ship's communication system. You need to get back to the bridge. Aliens are deploying more equipment. Jake and Lisa hurried back to the command center. On the main screen, they could see Zephyrian ships launching small objects into space. The objects were too small to see clearly, but Jake now knew what they were. It's more surveillance drones, Lisa said. They're trying to replace the ones I destroyed. Danny Rodriguez looked confused. Replace what ones? thought their equipment problems were caused by cosmic radiation. Jake realized that most of his crew still didn't know what had really happened. He made a decision that would change everything. All senior officers to the conference room immediately, he announced over the ship's speakers. 10 minutes later, Jake's top staff gathered around the conference table. Lisa stood at the front of the room with her targeting data displayed on the wall screen. Danny, Nina, Pete, and Dr. Amanda Foster, the ship's science officer, listened in amazement as Lisa explained her real demonstration. So when the aliens were laughing at us, Danny said slowly, "You were actually winning a secret battle." "Exactly," Lisa replied. "They were so busy recording our failures that they didn't notice their own systems being destroyed." Dr. Amanda Foster studied the drone fragments they had managed to collect after the shooting. She was a brilliant scientist who understood alien technology better than anyone else on the ship. "These devices are incredibly advanced," she said. "They use stealth technology I've never seen before." "How did you detect them?" "Our quantum sensors operate on different principles than most technology," Lisa explained. The aliens built their stealth systems to hide from conventional detection methods. They didn't expect to meet sensors that work in completely different ways. Pete Johnson shook his head in amazement. "So their advanced technology actually worked against them?" "In a way, yes. They assumed all sensors worked the same way theirs do. When they met sensors based on different science, their stealth became useless." Nina Brooks had been quiet during the explanation, but now she looked excited. "Captain, if Lisa can see their new surveillance drones, she can destroy those too. The aliens will keep having system failures and never understand why." Jake considered the possibilities. The Zephyrians were becoming more frustrated and suspicious with each system failure, but they still thought humans were helpless. How long could this continue before they discovered the truth? "Lisa, can you eliminate their new drones without them noticing?" Jake asked easily. "I can make it look like routine navigation adjustments or thruster maintenance. They'll think we're just bad at flying our ship." Over the next 2 days, Lisa continued her secret war against Zephyrian surveillance. Every time the aliens deployed new equipment, she found reasons to fire what looked like accidental shots. A navigation correction here, a thruster test there, and another surveillance drone would disappear into space dust. The alien frustration grew stronger. Commander Vexcalon sent increasingly angry messages demanding that the humans either surrender or leave Zephyrian space. His system failures were getting worse. His engineers could not find the cause. Jake watched the alien communications with growing concern. How long before they realized that their problems started exactly when the human demonstration ended? How long before someone noticed the connection between Lisa's missed shots and their system failures? On the third night, Danny Rodriguez brought disturbing news to Jake's quarters. "Captain, I intercepted a message from the Zephyrian command ship. They're requesting a detailed analysis of all system failures since they met us. Senior analyst Quenvosh is reviewing everything that happened in the past week." Jake felt cold fear in his stomach. If the aliens reviewed their data carefully, they might discover the truth. And if they learned that humans had been destroying their equipment while pretending to be helpless, the peaceful first contact would become a shooting war. "How long before they finish their analysis?" Jake asked. "Based on their message traffic, probably by tomorrow morning." Jake stared out his window at the alien ships surrounding them. Tomorrow, everything would change. The question was whether it would change in humanity's favor or lead to their destruction. Senior analyst Quenvosh worked through the night in her laboratory aboard the Zephyrian command ship. She was smaller than most of her species, but her mind was sharp and careful. Commander Vexcalon had given her an important job: find out why their ships kept having problems. The laboratory was filled with holographic displays showing data from the past week. Quenvosh studied every system failure, every communication breakdown, and every navigation error. She arranged the information by time, by ship, and by type of problem. At first, the failures seemed random. Power systems would stop working for a few minutes, then start again. Communication arrays would lose signal, then reconnect. Weapon targeting computers would freeze, then restart normally. Problems appeared to have no pattern, but Quenvosh was very good at finding patterns that others missed. She had spent years analyzing enemy tactics and discovering hidden strategies. Something about these failures felt wrong to her. She created a timeline showing exactly when each problem occurred. The first failure happened 3 days ago at 14:27 ship time. The second happened at 14:31. The third at 14:35. All the times were close together right after the human weapons demonstration. Quenvash felt her heart beating faster. She pulled up the video recording of the human shooting display and watched it again. The human weapons officer had fired 10 shots, all of them missing their targets badly. The shots had gone in random directions, to empty space. She compared the timing of the human shots with the timing of their system failures. Her hands shook. As she realized the truth, every system failure had happened at exactly the same time as a human weapons discharge. The human shots had not missed. They had hit something the Zephyrians could not see. Quenvash ran to Commander Svexkalen's quarters and requested an emergency meeting. The commander was sleeping, but she woke him up anyway. This discovery was too important to wait. "What is so urgent that you disturb my rest?" Commander Vexkalen asked angrily. Quenvash activated her portable display unit and showed him her analysis. "Commander, our system failures are not random. They match perfectly with the human weapons fire from 3 days ago." The commander looked at the data with confusion. "That is impossible. The humans missed every target. We saw them fail. They missed the targets we could see," Quenvash said carefully. "But what if they hit targets we could not see?" She brought up a detailed sensor log from the weapons demonstration. Using advanced analysis tools, she enhanced the images to show the smallest possible details. Tiny objects appeared on the display, objects that had been invisible during the original event. "Surveillance drones," she whispered. "Our surveillance drones?" Commander Vexkalen stared at the enhanced images. Each human shot had passed exactly through the location of a Zephyrian surveillance device. The humans had not missed at all. It hit 47 different pieces of equipment with perfect accuracy. "How is this possible?" the commander asked. "Our stealth technology is the best in the galaxy. No species has ever detected our surveillance equipment." Quenvash felt fear growing in her chest. "Commander, what if human technology works differently than ours? What if they can see things we cannot see?" The implications terrified both of them. If humans could detect and destroy Zephyrian stealth equipment, what other capabilities were they hiding? The species they had laughed at for 3 days might be far more dangerous than anyone imagined. Commander Vexkalen called an emergency meeting of all ship captains. Within an hour, the command staff of 9 ships gathered in the main conference room through holographic projection. The commander shared Quenvash's discovery with growing alarm. "This changes everything," said Captain Morketh from the heavy cruiser Dominator. "If the humans can see our surveillance network, they can probably see our defensive positions too." "We must attack immediately," said Captain Zexvorin from the destroyer Swift Death, "before they realize we know the truth." But Commander Vexkalen was thinking more carefully. "If we attack now, we prove that we know what they did. That gives away our own intelligence capabilities. Maybe we should watch them more carefully and learn what other surprises they have." Aboard the Liberty, Danny Rodriguez intercepted the alien emergency communications. He could not understand everything, but the translation computer caught enough words to know the aliens were discussing the human weapons demonstration. He ran to Captain Morrison's quarters and woke him up. "Captain, the aliens are having an emergency meeting. They keep mentioning our shooting demonstration and something about surveillance equipment." Jake felt his stomach drop. The moment he had been dreading was here. The aliens had discovered the truth about Lisa's perfect accuracy. He called Lisa Carter and the other senior officers to the bridge immediately. When they arrived, Jake shared Danny's report about the alien communications. "They know," he said simply. "They figured out what really happened during the demonstration." Lisa looked calm, as if she had expected this moment. "Captain, they might." "No, we destroyed their surveillance drones, but they don't know how much we can really see." Dr. Amanda Foster had been studying the alien technology fragments for days. She looked excited despite the dangerous situation. "Captain, I've learned something important about their equipment. All of their systems are connected in ways they don't fully understand." She brought up a diagram on the main screen showing how Zephyrian technology worked. Their ships share information through quantum communication links. When Lisa destroyed their surveillance drones, she also damaged parts of their ship-to-ship communication network. Pete Johnson studied the diagram with interest. So their system failures are getting worse because their technology depends on equipment they lost? Exactly. They built their fleet to work as one big connected system. When parts of that system are missing, everything works poorly. Jake realized this gave them an advantage the aliens didn't know about. The Zephyrians thought humans could only destroy individual pieces of equipment. They didn't realize that destroying the right pieces could cripple their entire fleet. Lisa, how many critical connection points can you identify in their network? Jake asked. Lisa studied her targeting displays for several minutes. If I choose the right targets, I can probably shut down their weapon coordination systems across all 9 ships. But I would need to do it all at once. If they see what's happening, they'll adapt. How long would you need? About 30 seconds. For a full coordination strike, but Captain, once I do this, they'll know for certain that we're not the helpless species they thought we were. Jake looked around at his crew. There were good people who had signed up to explore space, not fight wars. But they were also the only thing standing between Earth and a hostile alien empire that had conquered 47 star systems. The ship's communication system buzzed with an incoming message from Commander Vex Callan. The alien commander appeared on the main screen, and his expression was very different from 3 days ago. The mocking confidence was gone, replaced by suspicious caution. Captain Morrison, the commander said carefully, we need to discuss your weapons demonstration in more detail. Jake kept his face calm. What would you like to discuss, Commander? Our engineers have been analyzing some equipment problems we've been having. The problems seem to have started after your shooting display. We're curious about the coincidence. The 2 commanders stared at each other across the communication link. Both knew that the other knew the truth, but neither wanted to be the first. To admit it, equipment problems can happen at any time in space, Jake said. I hope your engineers find the cause soon. I'm sure they will, Commander Vex Callan replied. In the meantime, we've decided to conduct some additional weapons tests of our own. Perhaps you would like to observe our capabilities more closely. The threat was clear. The aliens were preparing to attack, but they wanted to test human responses. First, we would be honored to observe, Jake said politely. Excellent. We will begin in 1 hour. Please prepare your sensors to record everything. The communication ended, leaving Jake and his crew alone on the bridge. Everyone understood what had just happened. The peaceful first contact was about to become humanity's first interstellar war, Lisa Jake said quietly. Get ready to show them what human accuracy really means. Admiral Dexgren arrived with 3 massive ships, just as Commander Vex Callan finished his conversation with the humans. The Admiral was famous throughout the Zephyrian Empire for winning 30 battles without losing a single ship. Her vessels were twice the size of the others, bristling with weapons that could destroy planets. Commander Vex Callan, the Admiral's voice boomed across the communication channels. I received your report about human deception. This is unacceptable.
How?
No inferior species should be allowed to trick the Zephyrian Empire.
The Admiral's flagship, the Eternal Victory, took position
At the center of the alien formation,
her 2
heavy cruisers, Death's Edge and Final Strike flanked the other ships. Now 12 alien warships surrounded the single human vessel. Admiral Dexgoran was older than the other Zephyrian officers. Aimer with scars across her crystal armor from decades of combat. She had fought species with advanced technology, superior numbers, and desperate courage. All of them had fallen before Zephyrian might. One small ship with primitive weapons, she said to her staff. How did this become a problem requiring my attention? Commander Vex Callan explained the surveillance drone incident and the mysterious system failures. The Admiral listened with growing impatience. To her, the solution was simple. Destroy the human ship and end the problem. Enough discussion, Admiral Dexgren declared. We will demonstrate overwhelming force. When the humans see our true power, they will surrender immediately or be destroyed. Aboard the Liberty, Jake Morrison watched the new alien ships take positions around them. The tactical display showed energy readings that made his hands shake. Each of the Admiral's ships had enough firepower to crack a moon, Captain Lisa Carter said from her weapons station. I'm reading massive energy buildup across all 12 ships. They're preparing for a coordinated attack. Danny Rodriguez looked up from his communications station with fear in his eyes. Captain, they're broadcasting on all frequencies, Admiral. The Xcoran is demanding our immediate surrender. The main screen activated, showing the imposing figure of the Zephyrian Admiral. Her presence filled the bridge with an aura of absolute authority and military power. Human Captain Admiral Vexcoran began, her voice like thunder. I am Admiral Vexcoran, conqueror of the Andorian Cluster, destroyer of the Kelvin Republic, and supreme commander of the 5th Zephyrian Fleet. Your deception ends now. Jake stepped forward, trying to project confidence he didn't feel. Admiral, we came here in peace. We have no desire for conflict. Peace. The Admiral's laughter was cold and harsh. You destroyed our equipment while pretending to be incompetent. You made fools of experienced warriors. There is no peace after such insults. The Admiral gestured, and weapon locks appeared on every Zephyrian ship. 12 sets of targeting systems focused on the Liberty's hull. Jake could see the energy readings, climbing toward lethal levels. You have 60 seconds to prepare for destruction, Admiral Vexcoran announced. Unless you surrender your ship and crew to serve the Zephyrian Empire for the rest of your miserable lives. Jake looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. These people had followed him into deep space to explore and learn. Now they faced death because he had chosen to meet aliens with openness instead of suspicion. Admiral Jake said desperately, "Before you destroy us, would you allow us to honor our ship with a traditional human farewell ceremony? It's an ancient custom among our people." The Admiral considered this request with amusement. A death ritual. How quaint. Very well, human. Perform your primitive ceremony. It will entertain my crews before your destruction. Jake felt a flicker of hope. The plan forming in his mind was desperate and dangerous, but it was their only chance. Thank you for your mercy, Admiral. We request permission to fire a ceremonial salute pattern around our ship. It's how humans say goodbye to a vessel that has served them well. Admiral Dexcarin waved one of her 4 hands dismissively. Fire your pathetic goodbye shots. We will record them for our entertainment archives. Jake turned to Lisa Carter. Knowing that everything depended on her incredible skill, Lisa, prepare the farewell salute. Use Pattern 7. Lisa's eyes widened slightly. Pattern 7 was not a real ceremonial sequence. It was a code they had developed during their academy. Training, a way to coordinate complex targeting without alerting enemies to their true intentions. Understood, Captain, Lisa said, moving to her targeting controls. Gary, Carla, prepare to assist with the salute sequence. Gary Mitchell and Carla Stevens, the other weapons specialists, moved to their stations. All 3 officers began entering, targeting data that looked random to anyone watching, but followed a precise mathematical pattern that would hit 12 specific points. Simultaneously, Dr. Amanda Foster understood what was happening. Her analysis of Zephyrian technology had identified the critical weak points in their fleet network. Lisa and her team were preparing to target every major connection node at the same time. Beginning the farewell salute, Lisa announced, "The Liberties." Weapons began firing in what appeared to be a traditional ceremonial pattern. Beams of energy shot out in different directions, creating geometric shapes and space around the human ship. To the watching aliens, it looked like a beautiful but meaningless ritual. The Zephyrian crews watched with a mixture of boredom and amusement. Some officers made jokes about human customs. Others recorded the display to share with friends back home. Admiral Vexcorn tapped her fingers impatiently, waiting for the silly ceremony to end. But Lisa Carter and her team were not firing randomly. Each shot was calculated to hit a specific target invisible to Zephyrian sensors. Junction boxes that connected ship-to-ship communications. Power coupling nodes that synchronized weapon systems. Navigation relay points that coordinated fleet. Movements, the salute pattern continued for 90 seconds. 36 precise shots fired in sequence, each one hitting a critical point in the Zephyrian network. The aliens saw only empty space being struck by ceremonial fire. "Farewell salute complete," Lisa announced. Admiral Dexcarin yawned. "How touching. Now prepare to join your ship in death." She raised her hand to signal the coordinated attack. 12 ships prepared to fire simultaneously,
Nice.
delivering enough destruction to vaporize the Liberty completely. Then the Admiral's weapons. Systems went offline. Warning lights flashed across the bridge of the Eternal Victory. The Admiral's weapons. Officer reported that targeting computers had crashed. The navigation officer announced that fleet coordination was failing. The communications officer said that ship-to-ship links were breaking down. "What is happening?" Admiral Dexcorin demanded. Similar reports came from all 12 ships. Weapon systems losing target locks. Navigation computers crashing. Communication arrays going silent. The perfectly coordinated alien fleet was dissolving into chaos. Captain Morketh from the Dominator tried to contact the flagship. "Admiral, our weapons are not responding. Cannot maintain target locks on the human ship." Captain Zexvorin from Swift Death reported similar problems. "Our navigation system shows conflicting data. We are drifting out of formation." One by one, the Zephorian ships reported critical system failures. Their advanced technology designed to work as a unified network is collapsing as key connection points failed throughout the fleet. Admiral Vexcorin stared at her displays in growing horror. The most powerful fleet in Zephyrian history had been reduced to helpless metal drifting in space. And it had happened during what appeared to be a harmless human ceremony. "The salute," she whispered, finally understanding. They were not saying goodbye to their ship. They were saying goodbye to us. Jake Morrison stood calmly on his bridge, watching the chaos spread through the alien fleet. His small crew had just disabled 12 warships without firing a single shot at an obvious target. "Admiral Dexcorin," Jake said politely. "It appears you're having some technical difficulties. Perhaps we can discuss this situation more reasonably now." The Admiral looked at Jake with a mixture of fear and respect that no alien had ever shown to a human before. In 90 seconds, this primitive species had proven that Zephyrian technology meant nothing against opponents who understood systems better than their builders. Human Admiral Dexcarin said slowly, "We need to talk." The silence in space lasted for long minutes as both fleets tried to understand what had happened. 12 powerful Zephyrian warships drifted helplessly, while one small human vessel waited patiently for a response. Admiral Dexcarin stared at her control panels in disbelief. Red warning lights flashed everywhere. Her weapons were offline. Her navigation system showed random numbers. Her communication array could barely maintain contact with her own ships, let alone coordinate fleet operations. "Engineering report." She commanded. Chief Engineer Colvince's voice came through static-filled speakers. "Admiral, our primary network nodes have been destroyed. The systems that connect our ships together are gone. We can operate individual vessels, but fleet coordination is impossible. How long to repair?" "Unknown, Admiral. Cannot even find all the damaged components. They are too small and too well hidden in our system architecture." Admiral Dexcarin had never faced defeat like this. In 30 battles, she had always known exactly what went wrong when things failed. Enemy weapons hit her ships, enemy tactics outmaneuvered her formations, enemy numbers overwhelmed her defenses. But this time, her fleet had been destroyed by shots that appeared to hit nothing at all. She opened a communication channel to the Liberty. "Captain Morrison, I request immediate discussion between military commanders." Jake Morrison appeared on her screen, looking calm and professional. Behind him, his bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. There was no celebration, no mockery, no triumph in their faces. They acted like disabling 12 warships was routine business. Admiral Jake said politely, "I'm ready to discuss our situation. Your situation?" Admiral Dexcarin felt anger rising in her voice. "My fleet is crippled. My weapons are useless. My ships cannot coordinate with each other. What situation do you think you're in?" Jake's expression remained steady. "Admiral, we're in the same situation we've been in since we met. 2 different species trying to understand each other in deep space. The Admiral struggled to control her emotions. This human spoke as if nothing had changed, even though he had just accomplished the impossible. "Explain to me how you did this," she demanded. "How did your primitive weapons destroy systems you cannot see?" "Our weapons are not primitive, Admiral. They're just different from yours. We developed technology based on different scientific principles, because we had different problems to solve." Dr. Amanda Foster stepped forward on the Liberty's bridge. "Admiral, may I explain the technical aspects? I think it will help both our species understand what happened." Admiral Vexgrin nodded, eager for any explanation that made sense. "Technology is incredibly advanced," Dr. Foster began. "Your ships, weapons, and sensors are superior to ours in almost every way. But your scientists made one assumption that turned out to be wrong?" "What assumption?" "You assumed that all intelligent species would develop similar detection methods. Your stealth technology hides from the kinds of sensors you would build. But human sensors work differently because we solve different problems during our development." Viscorin felt frustrated. "Explain more clearly." Dr. Foster brought up a simple diagram on her screen. On Earth, humans fought many wars against enemies with better weapons and stronger armies. We learned to survive by finding weaknesses that our enemies didn't know they had. Weaknesses. Every complex system has connection points that hold it together. Destroy the right connections, and the whole system fails. Your fleet network is incredibly sophisticated, but it depends on small relay points that coordinate everything. Lisa Carter joined the conversation. "Admiral, when I fired during our ceremonial salute, I wasn't trying to destroy your ships. I was targeting the small components that make your ships work together as a fleet. You could see these components? Our quantum sensors can detect them easily. Your stealth technology is designed to hide from sensors that work like yours, but it doesn't hide from sensors that work like ours." Admiral Vexgrin began to understand. The humans had not defeated superior technology with primitive weapons. They had used completely different technology that made Zephyrian advantages irrelevant. "So when my officers laughed at your poor accuracy," the Admiral said slowly, "you were actually demonstrating perfect accuracy against targets we could not see." "Yes," Jake confirmed. "We never intended to deceive you, Admiral. We were defending ourselves the only way we knew how." Captain Morrison continued. "Admiral, humans learned long ago that the best way to fight a stronger enemy is not to engage their strengths directly. Instead, we look for the systems that support those strengths. And you can see our support systems when we cannot see yours. Our technology is developed independently. What seems invisible to your sensors is obvious. 2 hours? And probably the reverse is true as well." Admiral Vexgrin considered this information. Her empire had conquered 47 star systems by assuming that superior firepower and advanced technology guaranteed victory. But what happened when they met enemies who didn't fight according to the same rules? Admiral Jake said. "We don't. Want to be your enemies?" Earth would be honored to establish peaceful relations with the Zephyrian Empire. "Peaceful relations?" The Admiral laughed bitterly. "You have crippled my fleet. You have shown that our greatest military advantages are useless against your technology. Why would you want peace when you could simply destroy us?" "Because destroying you wouldn't help anyone," Jake replied. "Your empire has knowledge and technology that could benefit humanity. We have different technologies that might benefit your people. Both species could learn from each other." Dr. Foster stepped forward again. "Admiral, we've been studying the Zephyrian equipment we collected. Your engineering is amazing. Your power systems are far more efficient than ours. Your materials science is centuries ahead of human knowledge. But our advantages mean nothing if you can disable our systems at will." "That's not true," Dr. Foster said. "Your systems fail because they weren't designed to work with human technology interfering. But they could be designed to work with human technology cooperating." Admiral Vexcorin felt a spark of interest. "Explain." "Imagine combining Zephyrian engineering with human detection capabilities. Your ships could be even more powerful because they would be protected against the kinds of attacks we just demonstrated," Lisa Carter added. "And human weapons could be improved with Zephyrian targeting systems and power sources. We could develop defenses that neither species could create alone." The idea was intriguing. Admiral Dexcorin had spent her career thinking about how to defeat enemies, but she had never considered how former enemies might become allies. "You would share your detection technology with us?" she asked. "If you would share your engineering advances with us," Jake replied. Both species would benefit from cooperation. Over the next several hours, human and Zephyrian engineers worked together to restore basic functions to the alien fleet. Pete Johnson and Gary Mitchell used their understanding of the damaged systems to help Zephyrian technicians find and repair the critical connection points. The work was slow and difficult. Human and Zephyrian technology operated on different principles, making cooperation challenging. But gradually, the alien ships regained basic navigation and communication capabilities. Admiral Dexcorin watched the joint repair efforts with growing amazement. Human engineers understood Zephyrian systems better than some of her own technicians. They could see problems that her experts had missed and suggest solutions that worked perfectly. "Captain Morrison," she said finally, "I believe our empires have much to discuss?" Jake smiled. "I agree, Admiral. Perhaps this meeting will be remembered as the beginning of a beneficial partnership. Instead of humanity's first interstellar war, Danny Rodriguez sent a message to Earth Command, reporting successful first contact with an advanced alien civilization. His report described how human technological advantages had prevented conflict and opened possibilities for peaceful cooperation. The Liberty and the Zephyrian fleet departed the Kepler 442 system together, heading toward a neutral meeting point, where diplomats from both species could begin formal negotiations. What had started as mockery and threats had become the foundation for an alliance that would benefit both civilizations, Admiral. Dexcorin learned that victory in space required more than superior firepower. Sometimes the greatest strength came from understanding that apparent weaknesses could become unexpected advantages when viewed from different perspectives. And Jake Morrison learned that first contact with aliens could succeed not by hiding human capabilities, but by demonstrating them in ways that led to respect rather than fear.